Hi, I'm Richard Topping. Welcome to Masterclass, the pole star of the computer world, guiding you safely through those dark passages and keeping you on the bright side of light. Today's stargazer is Robert.
Dear Richard, I've recently started to use PageMaker and I'm beginning to have some problems. Recently I sent a file to be printed and despite it looking okay on screen, my printer requested a font file and 2 images. Subsequently I found the links manager, but how does it work? Many thanks.
Ooh, what a fine question. How does it work? Many a good masterclass has started with those words. Well, what we're going to do today is have a look at sort of high-end desktop publishing and something that has been mentioned in the letter there called links management. Now, I'm going to show you why links are important by opening up a file and dumping some pictures into them. And then once we start doing that, you can see why the whole links issue becomes important. So let's go up to File, start with a new one. That's all fine, doesn't matter, we're not going to tweak with any of that. I'm really using this today as an example of the kind of things that you might want to play with. What I'm going to do is place some pictures. Now there is a very good place command in here, and that's File, and you come down to Place, and then that allows you to start choosing the things that you want to put into your document. We're going to choose the folder, Adobe Show, and I'm going to choose this one here, Fence 2. Now you can see the size of that file there is 1.5 MB, so that is a very, very big picture that we're going to dump into our document. I say open, and you can actually see that the poor old computer is having to think about what it's doing, and understandably so. I mean, 1.5 MB is a very large picture file indeed, and in fact what it says to us is this graphic is going to take over 1.5 MB in the publication. Do you want to include a complete copy in the publication anyway? And this is already the program telling us that perhaps it might not be such a good idea to put this picture in here as it stands, but we're going to put it in here to show you why linking is important. So we're going to say yes, we do want to put it in there. And immediately it starts trying to put the picture in, but it's a very, very big file, so it's having to think about it very hard. Now it's got it on this little placement icon here. I simply put it into the corner, press my button, and it begins to draw it. And by fence, we can see that it's actually someone fencing rather than a fence. I suppose if he went on strike, he'd be a picket fence, wouldn't he? Anyway, I'm going to shrink this down so that we can fit it on the page. And one thing to remember about moving pictures or changing their dimensions in a desktop publishing program like this is that doing that does not change the size of the file at all. This is still 1.5 MB in size. And if you want to actually change the size of the file, your best bet is to go into something like PaintShop Pro and to resize the picture. That will then reduce the size of the picture in both its dimensions and in the size of the file itself. So that's that one that we've put in there. Let's place another one in. I'm going to do this 3 times. Place. We put in fence 2, let's put in fence 1. And it's probably going to ask me that same question again. It would be very sensible if it did. Yes. And I'm going to put it in directly underneath. And again, this is a very... You see, look at that mask there. I guess that makes him a chain link fence. Right, let's just close that one down as well. There, and the last one I'm going to put in, File, Place, is the montage. Open it, and we'll just whiz through these now. You've got the general idea, I think, importing the file. These are JPEGs, so these are condensed photographic files anyway. If this was a bitmap, for instance, this would be an absolutely enormous file. So we'll include it in, and we'll dump it in directly underneath. And the last thing I want to do before we disappear is actually put some text in there as well, because you can link text as well as pictures. So this is just redrawing it. Now you can see immediately part of the problem that we've got here is that the poor old PC is having to think hard about drawing this on the screen. And that's the first problem that we're going to come across as we use a document of this size. And I've resized it, and it's having to think very hard about the resizing as well. And the last thing I'm going to do, just move up the page a bit, is to put in some of that text so that we can see how the 3 elements can work together. So I'll go File, File, ho-hum tiddly-po, File, Place, we'll put the text in, Open, and we'll dump that in there. It doesn't matter where that goes really, I just want to get the text element on the page so that we can see what we're doing, and pull it down. Now I'm going to save this document so that we can see how big the document is. Let's just pull that bottom thing down. I'll do File, Save, and I'll do Save As, and I'll call it document. Now, I was going to do save initially, but I'm going to do save as, because save as actually puts the pictures into the document. If you save it, it won't put the pictures in with the document. I'm going to do save as and shortcut the whole process because we're running a bit short of time. Then I'm going to go straight to my desktop and actually see how big this file is. Let's open up this folder that I've done, and you can see that there is the Adobe document we've done, and it's already 6 megabytes in size. That is absolutely enormous and wholly unmanageable. If we're going to try and save this to a disk, the only disk it's going to go to is a zip disk. We're going to try and send it over the internet. It's going to take you at least an hour on a normal phone line, and it is simply not the way we want to do things. What we're going to do now is show you how to disconnect the pictures from the file itself so we can send them all as separate items and not upset our printer.